Hi, everyone. We are here, and boy, do we have a treat today. I have my friend Ingrid from Michigan, and she is going to tell us all about Michigan, all about herself, and all about her business. And she's German, which I love. I love my European friends. So take it away, Ingrid.
Well, Mary Ellen, it is wonderful to be here with you. Thank you for inviting me to come on the show with you and share a little bit about me and my story, but most importantly, the real estate market in Michigan. I am in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I serve Grand Rapids, but also the Lakeshore because who would not? It's beautiful. Grand Haven, Sagatuck, Holland. We have a lot of tourism in those areas. A lot of people from the Midwest spend their summers here. We have a 300-mile coastline of just sand along the beautiful Lake Michigan lakeshore.
That's nice. It just sounds beautiful, just like hearing you. Like I can imagine spending my summers on the lake up there. It'd be pretty.
Yeah, we have a lot of people coming from Chicago, but also from Iowa, Indiana, other areas or south. We have people like from the Carolinas come here. And of course, believe it or not, but we do have people from Florida who move back here to Michigan because they miss the season and they are not here today. When I just shared with you in the beginning, we got some snow flurries this morning after it was 65 yesterday.
I know this is just like the weather. It's called the spring weather. One minute it's hot, the next minute it's not. So there you go. All right. So Ingrid, tell me about your background, about where you lived, where you came from, and how did you land up in Michigan?
I worked my whole life. I am German. I moved here in my early 30s, not to Michigan. I moved to California. I
Okay.
worked my whole life for American companies. So I came as an expat on a 3 to 5 year assignment.
Okay.
And here I am, like 25 plus years later. I always proudly say I am here by choice because I'm an American citizen, but also European or slash German citizen.
Yes.
Which is powerful if you look at real estate.
It really
I
is
still have
powerful.
very strong connections into Spain and Portugal. I worked there for 5 years. I'm fluent
Okay.
in Spanish as well. Well, maybe fluent, maybe a little bit less fluent than I used to be
Yes.
after like 20 years in Michigan where I don't use it as much. I always say if you don't use it, you lose it, right? So
Okay.
but yeah, I came to California, spent time there. My background was high-tech sales manager. And when my 5 years were up to go back to Europe, we had an opportunity. My husband had an opportunity to accept a CEO position up in Michigan. And my friends in California are like, what do you want to do in Michigan? They do ice fishing. They have a lot of mosquitoes. I did not know a lot, but I always say to my clients, and I work a lot of relocation now, I'm the best testimonial for Michigan itself because I could live anywhere. We do have a property in Park City in Utah as well, but I'm still here
And you
after
love it.
20 years. I do like Michigan. I like the seasons. I like the growth. I like the change, which I have witnessed, which is quite amazing. And I have lived, maybe to add on, I moved every other year for business before I moved to Michigan. So I've never lived anywhere as long as I've been here. So
Wow.
when
That's
my relocation clients are like, oh my gosh, what is Michigan about? I'm like, well, let me tell you.
I've been here for a very long time, not like
Yeah,
1 year or 2 years. I love that.
yeah.
I love that. All right. So tell me about the areas that you service. Give a little bit more detailed on that. And what kind of properties do you sell? Do you sell single family home, condos, obviously lake properties? So dig into that for us.
Okay. I am super proud to share that I'm on Gary Keller's top 100 team, which means I am connected as well across the US, but also with international clients. I work a lot of relocation clients. I cover price ranges between 200K up to 2.5 million.
Mhm.
I wish it would be higher at times, but our price points in Michigan are a little bit different unless
Yes.
it's like property. I do work a lot with relocation, a lot with referral business. 85% my business comes from agent to agent referral or from previous clients or from people who just have heard about me.
Sure.
I'm number one in our Keller Williams Grand Rapids office in Greater Grand Rapids area as
Mhm.
solo agent. I am a luxury agent as well. So I have built a very strong reputation in Grand Rapids and the Greater Grand Rapids area. I do serve the lakeshore with beautiful homes, which is really fun. So it's about a 40-minute drive, 45-minute drive. But it's so beautiful to be there and to share the beauty of the area of the Greater Grand Rapids area with my
Yes.
clients.
Nice.
I am personally, I live in Forest Hills, which is a very well-known area in the Greater Grand Rapids area.
Okay.
It has a great school district. It's very close to East Grand Rapids, which has a lot of international clients. And there's a lot of Europeans as well. It is very walkable. So I like to say it compares the most to Europe. You don't need a bus to go to school. You can walk to bars, to restaurants, to the school, there's a lake. There's a lot of recreational things to do.
That's awesome. So what are some of the most desirable neighborhoods in your city and why? I know you touched on where you live. Why would you say they're desirable and why are people moving to your area?
I always say to my clients, when I work relocation, I ask those specifics. What do you need in a house? Like number of bedrooms, yard, no yard, do you want a condo, you want a single family? But more importantly, I always interview them and ask them, who are you? What is your lifestyle? Because I have found from my moving so much and
Sure.
working with relocation specialists and destination services that it's not about the house, it's about the neighborhood and the community.
Of course. It's about the
So
lifestyle. Yes.
it's the lifestyle, right? So if I know somebody is a runner or likes to cycle or they like to walk their dogs, it's important that I have them in a community where they're connected to trails. We have a lot of trails, we have parks. If somebody likes to go out into bars and enjoys nightlife and restaurant and want that walkability, then I would focus on different areas such as the historic district in Grand Rapids, Heritage Hill or Cherry Hill. So I have a survey or an interview process, like you are asking me questions now, right?
Of
Where I
course.
go through and I try to understand, what do you want? Who are you? How do you live? And based on that, and of course, most importantly, what's your price point, right? If somebody says,
Of course.
I like lakefront, but I want to be below 700 or below 1 million or even below 1.5 million, it's most likely not going to happen.
Right.
So I would say those are the key criteria that links me also to the desirable areas, Forest Hills, East Grand Rapids, Rockford, because you have a lot of recreational opportunities combined with a strong school district as well. And I want to be super careful with steering here, so I don't want to.
No, and I think what's so great is I can see that you're so detailed with your clients, and especially when they're relocation. They probably never visited Michigan before. So you are actually the boots on the ground, finding, first of all, their lifestyle, finding where they're coming from, and trying to fit them in a community that works for their lifestyle. So you have to really you have to be on top of it, and you have to be asking lots of questions, and you have to be the boots on the ground for them. So you say you do a lot of relocation. So my question to you is, where is everybody coming from that's coming to Grand Rapids? Like what cities, what countries? I'm just curious.
We have a lot of Europeans here, but we also have a lot of, across the US. We have a very strong medical healthcare system. We have new hospitals. And when I say new, it's very, very different today than it was 15 years ago.
Okay.
So when I look at our downtown, the truth is when I came here in 2003, which is long, everything, a lot was boarded up. They had just built like a Congress Center and a Van Andel Arena, which is a, big, and enticing congresses and so on.
Sure.
There was hospital, but we have a lot state of the art now for the children's hospital in the Midwest for cancer. So you will see all the hospitals. So if you go downtown, it's literally all built like after the recession, after 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18.
Okay.
And we had one person here in town. Her name is Birgit Kloos. She happened to be German, which has nothing to do with me talking about her here, other than that she had the idea. Grand Rapids historically was based on furniture industry, and
Okay.
that changed. We have in the Midwest, Ann Arbor is very well known, Cleveland, Ann Arbor for medical services
Okay.
and support and very good hospitals. So her vision was like 35 years ago, I want to shift that and I want to make Grand Rapids a second Ann Arbor. And she has been extremely successful with that. She led that initiative for like 30 years. She retired last
Wow.
year. But that had totally changed the demographics. And also, when you say who is coming here, I have worked with physicians from Zurich, from Hawaii, from Cleveland. It attracts talent.
Right. So
And
you're really attracting a lot of that talent in the medical field. And as we're talking about medical field, we'll just dig into it. What other industries are prominent in your area that fuel the economy besides tourism? Because you did say tourism for the
yeah,
summertime.
we are like still very strong at based manufacturing. We have Bosch. We are very strong with automotive suppliers, support
Yes.
companies. We have Tessa. We have a lot of also Asian companies like which are in the dice field. We have 32 German companies alone here,
Okay.
which again that is not the majority, here in Grand Rapids, but we have the headquarter of Amway, many of you may know. We have the
Mhm.
headquarter of Bissell. So we have Steelcase here, which is very well known for beautiful business furniture product line. So we have, and that was another part of the concept of Birgit Kloos, that she really focused on maintaining the manufacturing. Detroit is very strong on automotive
Yes.
suppliers.
We all know
So we
that.
have a lot of that industry still here.
Yeah, that's
So we have,
amazing.
if
Yeah.
I look across the US, I mentioned earlier, I'm very connected to other states. I own property in Utah as well. Luckily, knock on wood, we still have a growth rate here in
Okay.
regards to real estate. While, of course, I must say we never went up like California or Arizona like this, right? So I say, if you don't go up like this, you also you don't slow down that quickly. But we still have a nice, modest growth. Our inventory is still limited. Our prices are still strong.
That's great.
For the
That's really great.
Midwest.
No,
Midwest.
really, and a great place to invest too, as well. And we
It
all know
is.
about all the manufacturing and all the automotive and all the history of the automotive coming out of Michigan. So I mean, everybody knows about that. How could you not? So I would say my question to you is, are there any challenges from people that move to your area? Like what would be a challenge? Is there bad traffic or adjusting to the lifestyle? Just curious about that.
I would say the one challenge for some may be the long, cold winters and
Yes, okay.
and other times. I do like to mountain bike. So I always measure it in regards to that. Is it a good winter or a bad winter? If I can still bike in November, then I'm like, it's not that bad, right?
Yeah.
But that can be a challenge, the gray days. And I always share with my clients, always friends. I'm like, well, it all depends. For me, it's all about managing expectations
Of
in
course.
private life, with clients, but also when you
Mhm.
move to an
Right.
area, right? When you move here, you need to have sprinkle in your trips to Arizona or your getaway to Florida, or you just got to break that November through February, which can be really dreary. You have to break it up and you have to just plan accordingly. I understand not everybody can do it, but if you have really good, easy connections with like Frontier and so on down, like at very affordable rates, like
Right.
to Arizona or to Florida, that you even could just go for 2 or 3 nights. Just
Just
to
to
remind
break
again,
it
how
up.
does blue
Okay.
sky look
Yeah,
like, you
just to
know?
break it up. So
Just
tell
to
like,
make it-
yeah, tell us about the climate there. So you're saying from November to about March is the coldest months. Um,
It is cold, and some winters cold means 25, 30, but other winters it may mean 0 or
okay.
-8. We had that as well. Typically, that doesn't last really that long, but it's not as unusual to have snow on the ground for 2 months or 3 months.
Okay.
And
Got it.
people would say to me, "You're German, so you know snow." I'm like, I've never lived through snow like that until I
No.
moved to Michigan, you know.
Yeah. So then, okay, so spring and summer, like how are the summers there? I mean, the summers are
Summer,
absolutely
fall
gorgeous.
it's absolutely gorgeous. We have a lot of boating licenses. We have a lot of golf courses. There are golf courses literally everywhere. It's
Mhm.
very green. Summers are beautiful. Fall is beautiful. You know, many times we are lucky and fall lasts mid-November.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, the winter time can be a little bit challenging. I guess that's one reason why a lot of Michigan people own property or their family owns property. You probably know that.
Yes, in
In Florida,
Florida,
they all
and they
come
go
down and
south
invade
and
you.
they just hang out there for a month or 2 and then come
Yeah,
back, right? Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Or
no,
they
I
work remotely. I think even COVID triggered that even a little bit more. I have clients who are attorneys, and with COVID, they're like, "Oh, I can be in Hilton Head for all of January or February. Why don't I do that?" You know.
yes.
So I think
Especially if
that
they
makes
like
sense.
golfing and boating and all that kind of stuff. So let's get into like activities and hobbies and things that people do in Grand Rapids on different seasons. Obviously, it's in the winter it's going to be a little different than the summer. So let's kind of tackle what do people do in the wintertime? What do they do in the summertime? What do they do for fun?
So we do have a ski area up north, or the closest is 20 minutes away from Grand Rapids.
Oh, wow.
It's yeah,
That's fun. Oh, that would be
well,
great.
it's a hill, right? The ski
But
area
that's
is a
okay.
hill.
Still
But it was
skiing.
perfect to teach my children when they were like 2 years old how to ski. It was the most affordable thing to do. You know, you
Right.
go and it was just super easy. And then we have several ski areas, like about 2 hours, 2.5 hours
Okay.
north of here. A lot of the Midwest comes to those ski areas. They are good ski areas. Um, there's, the toboggan, the sledding, the cross country skiing. There are a lot of outdoor activities. We
During the
have,
winter.
yeah, yeah, there's a lot you can do if you choose to go outside.
If you choose to go outside, yes. But I think if you dress appropriately, then it's fine. Like
Yeah, I
we did
100% agree.
yeah, we went to Alaska in the middle of the winter
Mhm.
in March, like 2 or 3 years ago, and we had the materials to wear, and it actually was very nice. It was great sledding, and it was great doing all, everything, ice fishing and all the stuff we did outside during the day when it was sunlight, and we had all the materials to wear, so we were warm, so it actually was really nice. But you have to really dress accordingly for that weather. Okay, so tell
You
me.
have you have to embrace it, right? And
Yes, you have
I
to
used
embrace
to
it.
run
You
a
can't
lot,
stay at
so
home, right? You gotta
yeah,
go out, right? You can't stay at
you got
home all the
to
time.
just incorporate it into your lifestyle. And the truth is, I have clients who say like, "Oh my gosh, my kids have never seen snow." They are so
Oh,
excited, about snow.
yes.
It's like, what do you make out of it? Because it can be a ton of fun.
Yes, absolutely, definitely. So summertime, I see. So is there, like you said, there's a ton of golf courses, there's boating, swimming. What about tennis and is pickleball
Oh,
popular where you guys
pickleball is
are?
huge. It's, I think, like Grand Rapids has received a lot of the top under the top 5 city names, like top #1 for breweries, top 5 for most affordable cities in the US to
Okay.
live for families. I don't know if they're in the top 5 pickleball, but I would not be surprised because there is really literally everywhere, not only outdoors, but also like the indoor new
Yes.
facilities which they build, right? It just comes
Well, they have
out.
to. I mean, if people want to play all year round, they have to. Like I was telling you last night, it was 85 here in Atlanta, and I was playing pickleball in a tournament last night, and it was so hot out, and I was like, and then today it's 60, so it's like the weather is just so crazy, just like there. But I can definitely see how you have to have a lot of indoor activities for tennis and for pickleball and just, people, I guess doing yoga and, just that kind of stuff. Like you can't do that outside in the middle of the winter. So
We have, it has changed really a lot. There's a lot of trails, there's a lot of tennis, golf, pickleball, ball, road biking, mountain biking, gravel riding, all of the above. And that has changed a lot, I would say, during the last 10 to 15 years, with a change in the demographics in town as well. When I moved here, there was just, I'm a very outdoorsy person. I do all of
yes.
the above, right?
Yeah, you told me that. Yeah.
So, but when I moved here, I'm like, oh my gosh, what do people do? And now if I look back, there are so many trails. There are races. Literally, you can go and join a group to run, to bike, to play tennis, to travel, road bike, whatever you choose to do. Literally every day, there's always different groups where you can just show up and drop in. So it has changed a lot. I would say it is very active, a very active lifestyle, combined with the fact that it's not as hot as Atlanta or Florida or
Right.
Arizona, all those states. And we do not have earthquakes like we had in California. We
Yes.
do not
Well,
have
yeah. What
fires
part of
like in
California are you
California.
from? Where did you live in California?
I was in the Bay Area.
Okay. So, all right.
But my daughter she will actually graduate in May. She studied the last 4 years in San Diego. So I was frequently back there as well. But yeah, we don't have the fires and,
And the
we have
earthquakes. So that is
tornadoes
definitely
once
an
in a
advantage
while.
there in Michigan. I got it. Okay, so let's dig into like the food scene, museums, theater, music, culture. What's the culture like where you're at?
We have a very active food scene. We have different theaters. We have almost every weekend a concert here in the
Okay.
Vernacular Arena. There's a lot going on. We have like every year that's called like the restaurant week. Then we have the beer week. Then we have all kind of week. There's always
Every
it's
fifth
hard to keep
festival you can
up.
think of, right? Yes.
Okay. So I would say it's a very active culture now. If I compare it with other big cities such as Chicago or Boston, New York, San Francisco, where I
Right.
live,
Mhm.
there is a little bit less variety
Mhm.
in choices, like in the national choices or global
Right.
choices. Also, it has changed a lot. But like if I compared, my son lives in New York, right? It's no comparison with Grand Rapids.
Of course. Well, yeah, I'm from New
It's
York,
like,
so I'm
there's
sure
great
it's not. Yeah.
restaurants, there's all the time new ones, but it's not like that they're open. They close down at 10
Yes.
for
Yes.
dinner, right? It's
Exactly.
not like New
No,
York that you go for dinner at midnight.
that makes sense. I mean, that makes sense where you're at. All right, so let's get into sports. So, like all the professional sports teams you have, and you guys? What I've seen in Michigan is that you're very big sports fans. Like you like
Most people are driven by the colleges, UFM and MSU and their games against on the national league, right? Playing.
yes,
So there's a lot of commitment. And for me, not being from here, I probably share that a little bit less. And people's like, oh
right,
my gosh, only this one is the best, or this. I'm like, but I understand there's some, you know, um, there's childhood upbringing and you route for something because it's many times also associated which college did you attend.
Right.
like
Yeah, you guys are big,
across
like
the US.
Michigan, there's big rivalries there in
Yes,
college.
yeah.
Michigan State. And then when you get into professional like football, everyone loves those Lions, those Detroit Lions. We're
Mhm.
all rooting for them, you know. And then
Correct.
you've got baseball and basketball. You got it all. I mean, everything, right? You got it
Yeah,
all there
yes.
too. So whether you like sports or not, you have sports, you have music, you have museums, you have culture, you have it all. So it's, even though it's not a big city, like you said, it really has a lot to offer.
And that is the reason for it attracting a lot of relocation to here as well, right? And I always check in with my clients, of course. I'm like, not only, hey, how is the house, but how are you? Have you made friends? I
Right.
try to connect them because I'm very well connected with international groups or other groups. I'm like, hey, if you like this, let me introduce to this. Or, if you like art, let me introduce to this group, or so to
Yeah.
connect. And I would say it is a city to adjust very easy to. It's not as overwhelming as
Sure.
some other bigger cities might be.
Okay.
And I have not really had a client who's like, oh my gosh, I hate it. Or so,
Yeah,
I
right.
would like I'll
There's
sell
something
after
for
2 years. I'm
everyone
like,
there
no,
too.
help you sell. But then like, no, we love it. I'm like, okay.
Good, as long as they're happy. And I think what I find from you and knowing you is that you're so, like, your clients are like your family, right? And you try to make them as safe and as welcoming as you can, because a lot of them are coming from other big cities, other areas. They don't know what Michigan's all about. So you being boots on the ground and you going through it yourself understands what they're going through in the whole purchasing of a property in the area and the relocation. So that's what I see. And I respect that too, because it's like you really take great care of your clients. And that's what we're trying to tell our viewers, is that there's there's a lot of real estate agents in this world, but there's not a lot of real estate agents like yourself. And you're a connector in the community, and you're connecting your clients to what they need. You know what they need or what they don't need, and you're there connecting them. So that's what I really love about you too. So let's talk a little bit about traffic. Is there traffic? Is there a lot of traffic? Is there public transportation? How are people getting to work?
Well, that is a very interesting question of you to ask. When we moved here, coming from the Bay Area, where you stand on 5 lanes and
Yes.
the carpool lane, and my husband would take our 2-year-old to work and drop our 2-year-old at his workplace in childcare,
Yes.
so that he qualified for the carpool lane, right?
Yes.
And then we moved to Michigan, and he was like, oh, I need to leave at 4 o'clock. Otherwise, I hit traffic. And I'm like, where? On 28th Street?
There's
So
no traffic.
traffic meant like, you're standing 5 minutes at the red light. It clearly has increased quite some over the last 20 years, because the construction of roads has really not kept up with just whoever came in here.
Sure.
We do not have a subway or metro system. We have a public bus, which is called Ride the Rapids, and it covers a lot, not only downtown, also goes to the outer suburbs and so on.
Okay.
And it's my understanding, I have to admit, I never rode it, but it is for free. So,
Really?
I think it was like, at least in the downtown areas, for free.
Yeah.
Because
Nice.
parking purposes, they want the people not all come in with their cars, with individual cars.
Yeah.
I would say public transportation could be a bit better. But I am European, so keep in
Yes.
mind, I'm used to having trains and trams and buses everywhere.
Right.
So we have mostly the bus. There is a train which you can hop on if you want to go to Chicago, if you're
nice.
up for doing that. It's about a 3-hour car ride to Chicago, about 2 hours to Detroit. So many still, I think, just out of habit, use their car.
Yes.
But there are opportunities for rideshare and bus. But we do not have trams. We don't have a subway.
That's kind of like Atlanta. Atlanta, there's a lot of traffic. So, but we don't have a lot of public transportation. It's very slim. So people are always in their cars. So that, of course, makes it a little bit of traffic. So I like that. You know,
I
you're
heard
not
Atlanta has a lot because I have clients who came here from Atlanta. Here, I would say you really, if you, there are certain roads where you say, you don't want to be on 4:30 to 6 o'clock. If you can avoid it,
right, of
then you
course.
just go back roads because, for example, East Beltline, this big connector, northwest, southeast gets busy. But yeah, compared to any other places where I lived, like or Frankfurt area where I lived before I moved here,
Yes.
it's very easy, and that's why it's one of the reasons still being here because I can move around so quickly, and I'm rather fast-paced.
Yes.
California on I-5, I stand and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't get anywhere. If I were
Right.
showing house
So here
today,
you
I
can
would
run
be
around
fine.
and get everything done that you need to
Yeah.
get done. I love that. Is there anything else you wanted to add about your area or your city that we haven't covered so far?
Well, it is a beautiful area to be here. I invite anybody who is interested relocating here to reach out to me directly. I'm sure there are things which I have not addressed because it's just so much. And I know
There's
I
a
will
lot
say
to learn.
afterwards,
Yes.
yeah, why didn't I say this and this and this? But yeah, it is. And one important thing is the airport. The airport has been growing ever since.
Okay.
But I still embrace the fact that I literally can go to the airport an hour before departure. Now I live like 15 minutes
That's
away.
nice.
But it's very easy to navigate it. It's not difficult to park there compared to like when I lived in the Bay Area or when I lived in Frankfurt or,
Yes.
if you're farther out. So within Grand Rapids, you're within like 15 to 20 minutes distance to the airport, which is
That's
extremely
amazing.
easy to navigate.
That's incredible. That's definitely a plus anywhere you go, because knowing, like, the reason why we live in Atlanta is because of all the international flights. My husband has an international company, so that's why we live in Atlanta. But it's just getting there and getting around there is definitely a challenge, but it also is a plus because he doesn't have to really connect anywhere else. He can go straight from Atlanta to a lot of the major cities around the world. So that's one advantage. But I do like the smaller airports where you can sneak right in and and don't have to spend so much
And then
time.
you go to Atlanta and you get stuck there.
That's right. You get stuck in Atlanta and it's a nightmare. So, all right. So my next question to you is, what do you personally like to do outside of real estate? What are some of your hobbies?
I love to travel. I've been to all continents but Antarctica. So my friends always joke because I always have trips planned. I don't always go on them because of my business. Many times, I cancel last minute, but I always have something booked. So my friends sometimes like, so what do you have booked now? And I'm like now, for example, I have booked New Zealand and I have booked Croatia for end of the year. I do not know if it will happen because it depends on my business.
Right.
So I love to travel. I love to explore the world. The world is beautiful. I'm an adventure traveler. I just, got to see Patagonia beginning this year, which was on my list for a very, very long time. But if I have time, I like to go for a run. I like to bike. I like to be with friends. And if time permits, I like to connect with my kids. I went just Friday night to Sunday to Denver to see my daughter, and I will go for Easter for one night to New York to see my son. So
so you have them scattered. You have them scattered. Do you have any? So you have them scattered in Denver and in in New York. So that's nice. What part of New York? In the city?
He's in Manhattan. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I worked in Manhattan. I love Manhattan.
Yeah,
so that's awesome.
And to me, a very busy city, but he loves it. So
yeah, that's great. And that's why we get along so well, because I love to travel too. We all know that as well. So my next question is, what places do you can tell our viewers where you've been that you really, really love, or what's on your bucket list, or both?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Yes.
Gosh, I've been to Australia, which I love just because of the people there. They are so okay made, right? Everything is like chill and laid back.
Yes.
It's a beautiful country. 90% of it is just all nature
Yes.
because it's really not populated. It's a very different pace. Truly enjoyed it. But I've also been to Machu Picchu,
Yes.
which is
I love
the
that.
Inca Trail, which is in itself,
Yes.
so unique. And I've been just so blessed to see a lot of great places. I did go gorilla trekking in Rwanda several years ago.
Yes.
I got to visit Vietnam. So it's a really tough question to say, what do you like? I'm not a repeat person. So if I've been to one place, usually I feel there's so much left in this world. I need
I
to
know. And we're like the
more.
same way. Like we went to Africa for a month, and we went to South Africa, and we did like Victoria Falls as well as Kruger National Park and all of South Africa. And we're like, okay, we got to get everything in because we never know if we'll come back. Well, now next year we're going to Africa, but we're going to go to Kenya. So we're going to another part of it. But like we figured we've already, done the South Africa part. So like we're probably like you too. We do certain areas, and once we do that, there's so many beautiful places in the world to see. There really is. There's just so many. And Machu Picchu is one of my favorite places too. Just breathtaking when you get there. And another one is,
you can describe it, it's like, oh my gosh, you are so
yeah, it's kind of like, I don't know if you've been to
touching.
the Taj Mahal. When you walk into the Taj Mahal, it's like breathtaking.
I've not been there.
Yeah, but that's the only thing in India that I really liked it. I'm not a fan of India, so I can tell you that. But also like in Cambodia, like Angkor Wat was
I've
like,
been there.
it's just incredible. Like the sunrise and the sunset there is just breathtaking. In Thailand, and every country has like their love. So where's a place you haven't been that's really on your list? Like, I have to go there.
So New Zealand has been on my list for 10 years or 15 years and
Okay.
did not happen for many reasons. Like Patagonia, I just went, and that had been on my list for a very, very long time. And New Zealand always fell off because of that 26-hour flight, right? You have been to Cambodia, so you know how it feels to go like through Seoul and like 26 hours travel.
Yes, long time.
It's a long time, but I also realized I just have, if I want to do it, I have to do it. And I really do want to do it. While I have seen a lot in the world, I love Switzerland still for the mountains. And that's my attraction to New Zealand, because I love Canada. I always say it's Switzerland on steroids, right?
Mm-hmm.
But to me, my anticipation is that New Zealand is just on a much bigger scale, less populated, less tourists, like it's in Switzerland. But
that's
like
on my list. I did Australia. I did part of Australia. We actually did Sydney for New Year's in the Sydney Harbor. That was incredible. But we've done Australia, but New Zealand's on my list too as well. So I would say that's on my list too. So that's nice. There's always places, like you said, there's so many beautiful places in this world to see. All right. So my next question is, tell me about, I know we have tons of answers to this, but what is one of your most rewarding real estate transactions and why?
Yeah, you are right. There are so many,
Just
transactions.
Tell us
You
which
can
one,
look at
because
500 plus.
Yeah.
But I had the opportunity to help a client who had a stroke. She was in her 70s, had lost because of that. She was originally from Austria, so European.
Yes.
After 35 years in the US, but had lost based on that her ability to speak English, had lost a lot of speech, a lot of mobility, but a little bit of German really was still there. And a friend reached out and said, hey, you have to help her, because she didn't have anybody here, and she wanted, that was just for her, and she had a house here. It was just so overwhelming. She couldn't handle everything which needed to be handled. So I connected with someone back in her hometown, which she went, which is funny, to high school with. Now, keep in mind, she was 72 now. And so build that connection because she had given me his name. And I had a power of attorney, not because I wanted it, but because there was nobody else who could have it and help her facilitate everything what needed to be done with Social Security, with bank account, with everything what she social like everything what she had, buying a ticket, so anything even outside of the real estate transaction in itself. And it took us about a year, because keep in mind, if you call a bank and you call for someone else and you go through
Right.
voice recognition
Mhm.
and she cannot really verify, it was a very slow process. So it took a lot of patience and time, but I realized there is nobody else who can help her to make that move. It was way beyond real estate, but I was
Mhm.
her only contact. To fast forward, after the 1 year, we managed to sell the house, to empty the house, to get her on a flight, to send her back. And we are still connected. That was a year ago, through WhatsApp. What's amazing is that most of her language had come back by just being in her environment where she
Oh,
grew
I
up,
love
where
that.
she was familiar with. And when people would say to me, "Why are you doing it? You're getting paid in pennies." I'm like, that is not the point. It's I
Yeah.
can really help. And I think, to me, I know we all have those transactions, but making that difference. And yes, I'm very passionate about what I do, and even passionate now remembering her, right?
Right.
It's so fulfilling, because I'm like, this is a power, this is a gift which we were given, all of
Yes.
us, to help people move through divorces, through life changes, which are very,
Yes.
very terrifying. It's not all, oh yeah, this house is so beautiful. It's really making that step in your life to a next step, to a better life for many.
Right. Yeah, no, I
And
agree.
that is, for me,
Yeah.
ultimately why I do what I do.
Yeah, and I
So,
think like in our business, like you're like me, it's really about helping those people transition to the next stage in their life. Whether it's they got married and they're having a kid, or whether they're upgrading, or whether they're downsizing, or whether they're moving from their home to independent living or whatever. So we're always there for some big steps in their lives, and it becomes very emotional. And you've got to have somebody who is organized like yourself, and knows what needs to get done, and has the the people that can help your clients accomplish that.
100%.
You know?
Because it's not just a transaction, right? I say many times and of course, I have built many relationships with previous clients as well, but I'm like, there's always a story. Real
Everybody
estate
has a story.
it's a
Yes,
story, right? It's not about, okay, oh, let's get this sign in the yard, because many times there's so much work behind to
correct.
get to that step. It's really, how can I help you best to reach that step? And I
And I
think
think
any good agent like you, or many other agents I know as well, I always say, Gary Keller says, come from contribution. I'm a strong believer, that's a KW culture, that you have to come from contribution and you have to bring value, and you have to look at people like, what would you do if it would be your family?
correct. Wow,
Because
that
they
you just
become
nailed
family,
it.
right?
I mean, you just nailed it. I mean, everything that I believe in, everything that my referral partners believe in is right then and there. So I just think that there's just so much to learn about you, about how you do business, and how you just bring everybody into your world, and you make it the smoothest transaction possible that you can do, because it is very stressful. And relocation is really tough when people are moving from other countries, other cultures, and you have to help them do everything. You know what I mean? They don't know about coming in. They might be coming into the US for the first time, and then
Mhm.
you're there to help them and guide them and help them, get used to the culture here, because it is different. I mean, it's very, very different. And that's what I love about you. So I thank you so much for this wonderful talk. And I just wanted everyone to learn about you. My talks are all about you, and I want to envision myself in Grand Rapids, Michigan, so
Please
that,
come visit. I'll
yes,
take you
of
out. We
course,
will have a
it's
lot of
always
fun because
beautiful. Yes, I love
we have
it.
so much in common.
Yes, I just love it in the summertime. We went to Traverse City, and then we
Oh,
did all the Upper Peninsula
nice.
just like 2 summers ago.
Very
And
good.
it's so beautiful up there. So like so many beautiful areas in Michigan, that to go from Grand Rapids, it's a very big college town too, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, lots of
Very big
fun.
college town. So is there anything else you want to add before we end our little journey here today?
Well, I want to thank you, Mary Ellen, for inviting me to come on. And I have to say, I even got to know you more by you interviewing me.
I
And
love it.
I realize how much, we have in common. And yes, you are my referral partner in Atlanta. You are doing a fantastic job. When people ask, why are you where you are at in your career, like you or
Yeah,
myself, it's always because you do things passionate, right? If you're
right.
passionate about it, then you are good at it. You're good at it. You're passionate about your pickleball as well. So that's one thing where I have to catch up with you on.
Yes,
But thank you
pickleball and
so much
tennis.
for
There
your
you
time.
go.
It
Well,
was
thank you.
wonderful being here.
Yes, thank you so much. So remember, Grand Rapids, you got Ingrid. And remember, we all can help you anywhere in the world buy or sell real estate. So just remember that and have a great
Absolutely.
day, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye-bye.